Let's go Irish.
That was the Irish kicking off.
Oh, there it is. I knew it was coming at some point.
Nice! Touchdown!
You okay, Ross?
Welcome to Headphone Happy Hour. We are back, and we are in jerseys. Why? Because college football starts. And, well, there's been a couple of games already, but for us, college football starts this week. So Penn State will be playing Purdue Thursday night. This will come out after the game, so I might be in tears or I might be happy on Friday. Who knows? My good friend Ricky, he went to Notre Dame. They're going to be playing Ohio State. I'm sorry.
Hopefully they won't get clobbered.
And Sarah, she is being a fill-in App State fan right now where my daughter goes. And
My college did not have a football team.
We're going to go up there this weekend and see them play UNC. So we're really excited. So this week we found a really cool beer at the beer shop. It's called Dragon's Milk. And so this inspired me. And this inspired me to bring in some Dragon Inspire headphone amps, right? So while we have a set of headphones on the table, today we're going to talk about the Dragon Inspire headphone amp, and we're going to talk a little bit about sound signatures and our Dragon cables. It just makes sense. So let's kick this off. Anybody got a suggestion on what to talk about?
Smells of rich mahogany and many leather-bound books.
Very chocolatey, very stouty.
Very tasty.
Very tasty. Very good
Really
beer.
good.
So
this was a joint effort between you and Dennis Had from Carry Audio. So how did all that come about?
So Dennis was the founder of Carry Audio, first of all. Let's give him those great kudos. An amazing tube amplification and other tube product categories. The company is just, it was a fantastic company. So Dennis retired. He can't sit still because he is like a mad scientist. He's always got to create something. He's always tinkering. He's always building amplifiers, and he sells them on eBay. And I was like, Dennis, I want a headphone amp that we can sell at Moon Audio. And so the Dragon Inspire was born. And essentially, he came up with a design that's very purist in nature in that it's a very short signal path. The input connectors on the back go straight to Lundahl transformer input stage. From the Lundahl transformers, it goes to the DAC stepped attenuator. From the stepped attenuator to the input, and I don't want to touch this because I'll burn my finger. We do have this one on. To the input tubes, the 6S and 7s. Then back out to the output transformers and to your headphones. It's a very simple path, very short, very sweet. What this means is that these 6S and 7s make up a lot of the sound characteristics of this amp. And so the reason I've got two on the table here is because I've got different new old stock tubes in here. In this model over here, I've got Sylvanias, I've got the Green Label 6S and 7s. This amp is going to sound a little more lush, liquid, romantic sounding. And in the other one over there, I've got the Coke bottle rectifier RCA tube and RCA 6S and 7s. That one's going to be a little more on the neutral, natural side. So the great thing about this amp is, depending on the tubes that you go with, you can dramatically change the sound of this amplifier. So you can have a lot of fun with it. And it's not just a headphone amp, but it's also a great preamp. So on the back, we've got a selector switch, and she can rotate that for you. We've got a selector switch where you can go back and forth between the headphone amp and the preamp outputs to go to a set of amplifiers for speakers. Back on the front, starting from the left side going across, the left side is the stepped attenuator. And with the stepped attenuator, the signal is going through one resistor with each click. And so you can truly balance the two resistors all the way up the chain, and this makes for a very clean, very well-tracked volume control. Then we've got the input selector, where in the middle position we're in the mute, and then you've got an input 1 and an input 2. Always put this in the mute position when you're turning off or turning on this amplifier, as this amp does auto-bias the tubes. So the first 30 seconds you're going to get some noise as the tubes are gaining their voltage. And then we've got both a single-ended connection and a 4-pin male XLR connection, and then of course the power switch. And we got to make sure we talk about the blue LED, because the blue LED will make it sound better.
Of course.
That was a mouthful. Anyway, I'm inspired today. I got football coming. I'm excited. You know, lots to say.
Now, with this kind of circuit design, are high impedance headphones going to have a lot of trouble with more volume control, more steps?
So originally when we built this amplifier, we gave you a choice of adding the Lundahl transform input stage, okay? Well, everybody ended up picking it anyway, so we decided to make it a part of just make it one version, okay? Essentially what those Lundahl transformers do is they step up the input gain. Because there is no preamp gain stage in this, and this has plenty of power, it's got 1.5 watts of power, which is enough for most headphones. It's not going to drive a Susvar, let's be honest. But for most headphones, it does fine. But what we did was with the Lundahl input transformers, it gave us more input gain, and so that way, for things like the Sennheiser HD800, people without the transformers at the beginning didn't have enough gain, and they had a volume control issue. So when we added those input stages, it boosts the volume. It doesn't change the power, it just boosts the volume so you have more control over the headphones.
Okay. Nice.
So what do we need to know from a safety perspective? Because, I know that obviously tube amps get very, very hot, and, you've got the delicate glass here. Like, what are some...
exposed, yeah.
Yeah, what are some safety tips?
Definitely, if you're going to put this into a rack, you always want to put it on the top shelf. You don't want to put it in any intermediate area shelves because it does produce a lot of heat. These get very, very hot. Do not touch them. If you have children, if you have cats that are going to be crawling around inside your cabinets, make sure that your door is closed, that they can't come in and burn themselves. I mean, that is important. Tubes get hot. Don't touch them. So cats like warm heat, and they're going to cuddle up to this, and they're not going to be happy. Yep. Exactly.
So I know that Dennis built his first amp in 7th grade for a science fair. When did you build your first amp?
I've never built my own design. What I have done is I've modified equipment. Okay,
I was about to qualify my question and say
I'm a tweaker, all right? So back in the day, I used to take apart equipment.
But he has built speakers.
Yeah. I was really into building. I mean, I was going to go to Penn State to become an acoustical engineer. I wanted to manufacture speakers. That's a whole other story we could get into. Anyway, in my early days, I was all about modifying equipment, trying to make it better, replacing, cheap capacitors with blackgate capacitors, changing out wire to pure silver wire, always tweaking. So that started, I think, after college. I did a whole bunch of that, because I couldn't afford new equipment back on on my first job salary. So I'd buy used equipment and I'd modify it to try and make it sound better. So
let's get back to tubes real quick. So how much of the sound can you actually change just by switching out tubes?
Well, like I said, in this design, more so than some of the other tube amps that we sell, because the circuit path is so short and the tube really makes up most of the characteristics of the circuit path, you can pretty dramatically change the tube. The sound from the tube. Oh. It's not going to be like a night and day difference. It's a coloration difference, right? If you want something warmer, you can never really get analytical with a tube amp. You're going to get good detail and whatnot, but it's still going to have that warm, fuzzy feeling to it. But, if you go to some tungsten tubes, which are really great for like rock and roll, this is more neutral natural with the RCAs, and the Sylvanias are very lush and liquid. There's so many options on 6X and 7s. That's part of the reason that tube was chosen for this amp, because we know there's just so many things to play with out there as far as that tube. And there's some great write-ups on Headphone. A gentleman in the UK, I can't remember his Headphone call tag right now, but he did a huge review of all kinds of tubes that he's played around with the Inspire. It's a great article. Look it up, see if you can find it. So let's talk about cables a little bit for a second.
We have something else on the table with Dragon in the name.
With inspiration from Dragon's Milk, we got to talk about. We're just going to talk about sound signatures, and I'm going to give sort of a general characteristic of our 3 most popular Dragons, which are our headphone cables: the silver, the black, and the blue. I've got the black here on the Lyric. We've got the silver premium here, and then the blue Dragon here. So, and this is a general statement because every headphone is going to have its own sound signature, and so each one of these cables is going to give you a different resultant of what you're trying to do, change, improve, whatever. So with the black Dragon, well, let's start with the blue Dragon because I can build on that one a little easier. So the blue Dragon is a very neutral, natural sounding cable. It's a UPOCC design. There are 4 24 gauge conductors in there. It's very neutral, very natural. You want to keep the sound signature of your headphone, but you want to add a little more detail and a little more engagement to the sound. The blue Dragon is a wonderful choice. Building off of that is the black Dragon, which is the same UPOCC copper. Okay, but we've bumped up the size of the conductors to 21.5. That larger conductor actually gives you a little more warmth, a little more fullness to the sound. So it's warmer in characteristics to the Blue Dragon. And then the Silver Dragon is the same geometry as the Blue Dragon, but we're using UPOC silver. And so silver is going to provide more detail, more clarity, tighter control of the bass frequencies. So if you've got a bass-heavy headphone and you want to tighten it up so it's not so sloppy sounding, go with the Silver Dragon. If you've got a headphone that's very bass-light, sort of like the HD-800, the Black Dragon's been our best choice for that headphone. If you just want something to stay the same sort of signature but improve tonality and control of the sound, then the Blue Dragon would be a great choice. So,
I've got a question. So let's say you want that set up on the table. What else would you need in the signal chain to have a full setup?
Yeah.
So this is a headphone amp, preamp only. So let's say we're talking about headphones. So let's say you've got a laptop. You can add just a USB DAC to it. In fact, we've used this a lot of times at audio shows with either a Chord Mojo 2, or a Hugo 2 as the DAC to go between a laptop and this headphone amp. It's a very small, compact system that can go on your desktop. Yes, this has tubes, but there's no reason you can't use this as a desktop amp. I've used it as a desktop amp. So that's a great combination. We've used it with Acutist. So basically, you need a DAC to go between this and your headphones from your source. Or you can just add a CD player or a turntable and a phono pre to connect to this. We're actually going to be picking up some new turntables soon. Look forward to that. I won't talk about that yet, but we'll do some reviews on those turntables with the Inspire and so forth.
Here's one question I have, and it might be a little complicated, I don't know, but when choosing, talking about coloration, talking about sound signatures of every piece of the gear, when we're choosing a Dragon cable, are we choosing, for instance, this Black Dragon to offset the tone of the amp or to influence the sound of the headphone?
Well, like
Does
I
that make
said,
sense?
yeah, I wanted to get very simple and just
Yeah.
talk about general terms of sound signatures and how they would work with the headphone.
Yeah.
But yes, every piece of the puzzle makes a difference. So I would start with the stock cable and all of your system, figure out what you like about the sound, what you don't like, and what you want to improve. And so those general characteristics that I just provided, you can insert that into how you make the whole system change. And, we've got Black Dragon interconnects, Blue Dragon interconnects, Silver Dragon interconnects to go with the other pieces of the puzzle. So
You want it, we make it.
that's right.
All right.
Anyway, I think we've talked enough about all kinds of things dragons. Oh, but you have one more question?
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
I have
Sorry.
a question. And it has to do with the Heisman Trophy. And I'm thinking Ohio State CJ Stroud looks to be the Heisman pick. But I would have thought that Bryce Young would be the front runner after his year with Alabama. But he was last year's winner, and there has not been a 2-year-in-a-row Heisman winner since, I believe it was Archie Griffin back in the 70s. What are your guys' thoughts?
No comment.
No, yeah, let's not.
Let's not even
You
go there.
lost, you lost me at Ohio. Okay, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's official, Moon Audio fans. We're giving away these Sony WH-1000 XM5 wireless noise canceling headphones and one of our custom Black Dragon portable headphone cables, a $550 value, free to one of our loyal followers. Simply follow the link in the description below to enter. The grand prize winner will be randomly drawn after the contest closes on Monday, September 19th, 2022, and announced during our Headphone Happy Hour on Friday, September 23rd. There's tons of other ways to enter, and once again, you can find out more by clicking the link in the description below. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you're notified of all future giveaways as well. Who knows what we'll give away next? If you have any recommendations for headphones, gear, whatever to pair with any beer recommendations or drink recommendations, please let us know in the comments.
And if you enjoyed this Headphone Happy Hour, please like the video and follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can catch all of our Headphone Happy Hours and all of our other great audiophile related content.
See you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.